Hi, everybody. My name is Rita Crompton. I am also known as the Inventor Lady. I am the president and CEO of Archimedes Offspring. And, as we've been going through the vetting process now on some of the products that have come in, and I've had conversations with other inventors, that kind of brings me back to this, the Inventors Reality check. So let's back up a little bit and kind of take a look at that. It used to be that we would always joke about the inventor's business plan being have idea, get patent, make money. And I think that most inventors these days, no, let's go back on that. Probably 50% of the inventors these days have heard enough about it and seen enough on TV that they know that's not real. Then I still get a lot of people who think that that's real. And it's my job to set the record straight. So for those who know that there's more to it than that, all right, they've generally been duped into being a startup. They've been duped into thinking that there's just endless money out there if you throw enough money at it. And unfortunately, for a lot of inventors, by the time they realize that this is not the way it is, they are already so far down the rabbit hole, we cannot get them out. All right. So you inventors, all right. What we're trying to do is make sure that you've got the right mentoring tools with access then to the potential funding mechanism, but you've teed it up correctly. It's so hard when the inventors come to me and it seems, at least on the surface, that, you've got a really good aha moment. And yet there has been something that just went astray. For instance, I met with a gentleman and really liked his idea, liked his prototype, liked the testing he had done, but his intellectual property was already 10 years old. And now the delusions of grandeur, all right, all these industries are going to buy it. No, they're not. All right, they might test it. They might say, yes, it works for us. No, it doesn't work for us. Delusions of grandeur can be your enemy. Fantasizing about little umbrella drinks in Tahiti before you've even gone out the door is your enemy. All right. Reality. A good licensing deal, right, means a car payment, a nice vacation. Maybe you put the kids through a private school. You can do things, but it is extra income. All right. It doesn't replace the day job. And if you sit on your intellectual property, right, and it's like, oh, but I've got these other things that I haven't done yet. It's 10 years old, all right? And any legitimate licensee is going to look at that. Because you know what? It takes the reality, again, what is an inventor's reality? When someone licenses your invention, your intellectual property, they are looking at 2 to 3 years for it to hit its peak in the marketplace. It doesn't happen overnight. I get inventors, it's like, well, I don't understand why it takes so long. Right? Because it does. When you're looking at, the drawings that you've submitted for your patent are patent drawings. Those are different than CAD drawings that you use for engineering the product. So now those have got to be done. They're very detailed. They're very exact. There's prototyping that's got to be done. There's got to be tested. Does this really work? Now what gets done for prototyping is very different than what gets done for the first run of manufacturing. That takes time, right? It takes time. Now you look at a licensee, they're doing those first runs, but now they're going to be doing, a 5, 10, 50,000 unit run. This takes time again. Where are they going to place it? They've got the same issues to deal with that you would have. All right. So just because they know they've got access to these retailers doesn't mean that the retailer is going to automatically take the product. There's some of the licensees I deal with where they own the shelf space. That's great. That makes it a lot easier, but they still have their marketing people. Now you've got a whole marketing plan that you've got to put out there. So when I get a licensee that says a licensor or an inventor, and they don't really understand why it takes so long, it just does. All right. So that said, it takes anywhere from, yes, we've done it quickly. All right. I've had a licensing deal from the first time a prototype was shown to the time the ink was dry on the licensing agreement, 6 weeks. Reality check, though, it's more often 18 to 24 months. From there, it's another 18 to 24 months for it to be seen in the marketplace unless you have inventory. That changes the game some. So when we're looking at, Inventors Reality, time is really your enemy. Time and lack of money. That's just the way it is. So Archimedes Offspring now, how do we change that? All right, how do we have a positive impact on that? Well, first of all, you're making the business decisions and making mistakes are limited because now you've got a team around you that says, here's the options, here's the price ranges, here's how we're going to spend this money. And you say, I've heard of this guy, let me go with this guy. Yes, I like this part of it. I think I can do some of those early drawings myself. That's great. All right. So what we do then is we go out and we limit the mistakes. We can shorten the time frame simply because we've got people in place to do the mentoring and to help you understand what your options are. The service providers you decide to use, you control that. You get to say who it is. Do we have some suggestions? Yes, we do. Do you have to use them? No, you don't. Do you have to use a legitimate service provider? Yes, you do. All right, but we help manage that. You don't get to use a buddy and he's going to do it pro bono and you're going to be at the bottom of his list. We're going to use good, legitimate service providers. That's the way it is. All right. Well, you get that done. And then if you are actually picked to be part of the program, all right, now in that vetting phase of it, we've got industry experts who are looking at this. They know it's coming. They're going to be quicker to want to tee it up if they are interested in being the licensee, right? So we've shortened now that time span. So do we turn it around in a few weeks? No, you're still looking at 12 months. All right. And then they're going to be another 12 to 18 months to get it teed up. And again, it depends on how much work you have done. But the reality check here, it takes time and money to do this. Archimedes Offspring helps shorten that time frame by giving you access to the experts and the funding. It's hard when an inventor is trying to do it all themselves and they say, well, life gets in the way. It does for everybody. I know that. Life gets in the way for me too. And I get inventors. It's like, well, I had to put it away for 5 years. That's tough. All right. Because that's 5 years off the life of the patent that you don't get back. So while I understand life gets in the way, if you'd handed it off, somebody else would have been running with it. Somebody else who had the team all put together would be running with it and sending you a royalty check. How cool is that? I've got George Peters in New England, and he said, licensed a product years ago. I get my royalty check once a quarter. I go to the bank and I have a smile on my face, and then I go back to the startup. And it sucks my energy, my emotions, my ability for life. And he'd be the first one to tell you. His first offer on his current product was a licensing deal. He said it was the best offer he ever had because they would have done the heavy lifting. He could have enjoyed life as opposed to having the life sucked out of him. And that's exactly what he will tell you. And I will get him on one of my interviews maybe next week, and he will tell you that. And you will appreciate hearing from an expert in the inventing area about the realities between licensing and startup. So watch for that one. I think you'll enjoy it. Inventors Reality is exciting. It is hard. It can give you indigestion. Archimedes Offspring can help minimize that. We can help you be successful. All right. Join the team. Find out what it's like. Look at the vetting process. It's easy. All right. You get a search done. You get an opinion done. You fill out the form. All right. And if nothing else, you will learn a lot from the experts. So join us. Let us help you be successful. My name is Rita Crompton. I am the president and CEO of Archimedes Offspring. Join us. Reach out. Ask your questions. Talk to you tomorrow.